You know something interesting? Most people spend years of their lives trying to discover what they're truly passionate about. They're constantly searching, taking personality quizzes, watching videos about purpose, asking themselves questions like, what am I meant to do with my life? But that's not really your problem, is it? Your situation is almost the opposite. You're not struggling to find interests. You have too many of them. One week you want to learn video editing. Then you start thinking about launching a YouTube channel. At the same time, you're curious about coding. You've also considered learning about investing. And somewhere in the back of your mind, there's that online course you saved about photography, plus the podcast idea you wrote down months ago but never started. And let's not forget that blog idea you've been telling yourself you'll begin soon. Yeah, that's where things get complicated. People have fancy names for this. They call it being a multi-passionate person, or a Renaissance mind, or a scanner personality. And sure, those labels sound impressive, but if we're being honest for a moment, most of the time it doesn't feel impressive at all. Most of the time it just feels messy. It feels like walking into a massive buffet with dozens of amazing dishes in front of you, and instead of enjoying one meal properly, you keep jumping from plate to plate until you're full but somehow still unsatisfied. I know that feeling very well. I've gone through phases where I started learning one skill after another. I signed up for courses I never finished. I experimented with things like content creation, online business, programming, marketing, even started a few YouTube channels that never really went anywhere. At some point, I honestly started wondering if something was wrong with me. Maybe I was just lazy. Maybe I lacked discipline. Maybe I simply couldn't stick with anything long enough. But eventually, I realized something that completely changed the way I see this problem. And once you understand this, it can save you years of frustration. Your problem isn't that you lack passion. Your problem is that you've never been given the right strategy. Because here's something most people don't talk about. The world is built for specialists. Think about it. From the time we're in school, the system rewards people who pick one direction and go all in. Become a doctor, become a lawyer, become an engineer. Choose your lane, stay in it, and spend years mastering that single path. And for some people, that works perfectly. But if you're someone who naturally gets curious about many different things, the system makes you feel like you're doing life the wrong way. So you try to force yourself to pick one thing. Maybe you decide to focus on something like graphic design. For a few months, you're fully committed. You're watching tutorials, practicing, learning new tools, improving every week. At first it feels exciting, but then something else grabs your attention. Maybe it's video editing, or writing, or learning about investing. Suddenly that new interest feels fresh and exciting, while the thing you were working on starts to feel repetitive. So you switch. And before you know it, the cycle starts again. Here's the part most people miss though. The real problem isn't that you're interested in many things. The real problem is that you're treating every interest like it's supposed to become your career. And that's the trap. You start believing every hobby needs to turn into a business. Every skill needs to make money. Every interest needs to become part of your identity. And when you can't give one thing your full attention forever, you start thinking you're failing. But there's actually a much smarter way to handle this. So now that you see why trying to focus on just one thing keeps tripping you up, let me show you a system that actually works for people with many interests like you. Alright, so let's talk about the strategy. And honestly, it's almost ridiculously simple, but simple doesn't mean ineffective. In fact, if you actually apply this, it can completely change the way you approach your interests. Step 1. Stop forcing yourself to choose just one thing. I know that sounds strange because everywhere you look, people are repeating the same advice. Find your niche. Focus on one thing. Specialize. You've heard it 100 times, but let me ask you something. You've probably tried that already, right? And if you're being honest, it didn't work very well. Because the truth is, you were trying to fight your own nature. It's like expecting a curious kid to ignore everything around them. You might manage it for a little while, but eventually the curiosity comes back. Some people are naturally wired to dive deep into one subject for years without getting bored, but others are wired differently. Their minds jump between ideas. They're curious about multiple fields. They enjoy exploring, and there's nothing wrong with that. Having many interests isn't a flaw. It's not some defect you need to fix. If anything, it's a strength that just needs the right structure. So the goal isn't to eliminate your other interests or pretend they don't exist. The goal is to organize them in a way that actually pushes your life forward, instead of keeping you stuck in constant distraction. Step 2. Divide your interests into 3 simple groups. Grab a piece of paper for this. Seriously, take a minute and do it. Write down every single thing you're curious about or would like to learn someday. Don't overthink it. Don't try to organize it yet. Just get it all out of your head and onto the page. Once you've done that, you're going to sort those interests into 3 groups. Group 1, the income skill. This is the one ability that has the most realistic chance of paying your bills within the next 1 to 3 years. And notice something important here. I didn't say this has to be your biggest passion. I didn't say it has to be the thing you love the most. What matters here is practicality. Choose something that meets a few simple conditions. You're already somewhat capable at it, people actually need it, and you don't hate doing it. For some people, this could be writing. For others, it might be coding, video editing, marketing, design, or sales. Whatever it is, this becomes your main professional focus for the next year or two. It's the skill you'll prioritize while everything else takes a secondary role. Group 2, the things that feed your soul. These are activities you do simply because they make life feel good. Maybe it's spending quiet time reflecting or journaling. Maybe it's painting, hiking, cooking, or reading books that make you think differently about the world. The key rule here is simple. You are not trying to turn these into money. These are not side hustles. They are not business ideas. They are simply hobbies. The internet often pushes the idea that every passion should become profitable. But the truth is, that pressure can slowly drain the joy out of the things you love. Some activities should exist just for you. Group 3, the curiosity list. Everything else goes here. All the other interesting things you'd like to explore one day. Maybe learning a new language, maybe studying astronomy, maybe diving deeper into philosophy, psychology, or history. These interests aren't being rejected. They're simply being postponed. You're not saying never, you're saying not right now. And that's perfectly fine. Those interests will still be there later when you have more time, more energy, and more mental space to explore them properly. Step 3. Go all in on Group 1. This is where most people with many interests make a big mistake. They try to divide their attention evenly across everything. A little bit of this skill, a little bit of that project, half the time on one thing, half the time on another. But that approach almost never works because progress requires momentum. And momentum only happens when your energy is concentrated in one direction. When your effort is scattered, nothing really moves forward. So here's what you should do instead. For the next 6 to 12 months, the skill you placed in Group 1, your income skill, should receive the majority of your serious effort. Around 80% of your productive energy should go there. That doesn't mean you spend 80% of your entire day working on it. It simply means that whenever you sit down to build your future, that skill becomes your priority. For example, let's say you have 2 hours a day that you can dedicate to improving yourself. Instead of jumping between 5 different interests, you might spend about 90 minutes focusing on that one skill. You study it, you practice it, you work on real projects, you improve your abilities step by step. If it's writing, you write more. If it's marketing, you learn how campaigns work. If it's design or video editing, you build a portfolio of work. And you treat that skill seriously. Because the truth is, this is the skill that can eventually give you freedom. Once that ability starts generating real income, whether through freelancing, a job, or even a small business, something powerful happens. You gain options, you gain time. And that means later on, you'll be able to explore your other interests from a place of stability instead of stress. Step 4. Schedule the activities from Group 2 like real appointments. Now let's talk about the things we placed in Group 2, the activities that feed your soul. These are still important. You're not abandoning them, but you also don't allow them to take over all the time and energy that should go toward your main focus. Instead, you schedule them intentionally. Put them on your calendar just like you would an appointment. Maybe Sunday morning is your quiet time for reflection or journaling. Maybe Wednesday evening is for painting or going for a long walk. Maybe Friday night is when you sit down with a good book. The key is to treat these moments as planned breaks, not random distractions. They're there to help you recharge. Think of them as recovery for your mind. They help you relax, clear your head, and prevent burnout while you're putting most of your effort into developing your main income skill. And here's the interesting part. When you stop putting pressure on these activities to turn into something bigger, you actually enjoy them much more. You read because it feels calming. You reflect because it helps you think clearly. You spend time on these hobbies simply because they make life better, not because you're trying to turn every interest into a brand, a business, or some online identity. Step 5. Review and rotate when the time is right. This is where the real freedom begins. This system is not something you're locked into forever. It's not a life sentence where you're forced to stick with the same focus for the rest of your life. The idea is simply to give yourself direction for this season of your life. Once you've built real momentum with a skill in Group 1, once it starts bringing in income and creating some stability, you can step back and reassess your situation. Maybe after a year you decide to shift your focus. Maybe that income skill becomes something you can manage with less time and effort. And when that happens, you might choose something from your curiosity list and move it into Group 1. Or maybe you discover a way to combine two of your interests into something unique. The key point is this: you're no longer trying to chase every interest at the same time. Instead, you're approaching your growth strategically. You're building things one phase at a time, not jumping between everything in a constant state of chaos. So, why does this approach actually work? Let me walk you through what starts to happen once you begin applying it. First, the constant guilt starts to disappear. You're no longer beating yourself up for being unfocused, because now you are focusing, just in a smarter way. You have one main priority while still giving yourself permission to enjoy your other interests without feeling like you're doing something wrong. That alone removes a huge amount of mental pressure. Second, you finally begin to get genuinely good at something. When one skill receives most of your serious attention for 6 months or more, real progress starts to happen. You move from simply being curious about a field to actually developing useful ability in it. The difference is huge. You go from saying, "I'm interested in marketing," to being able to run campaigns that actually bring results. That's the shift between casually exploring something and building real competence. Third, your confidence starts to grow. Every small win in your main focus area becomes proof that you're capable of committing to something and following through. Instead of seeing yourself as someone who constantly jumps between ideas, you start seeing yourself as someone who can build skills and deliver results. And that confidence spreads into other areas of your life as well. Fourth, and this is the big one, you begin creating options for yourself. Skills create opportunities. Money creates freedom. When you have both, you're no longer chasing new interests out of desperation or because someone online said a certain field is profitable. Instead, you explore other interests from a position of strength. You have stability first, and from that stability, you can choose what you want to learn or try next. Now listen carefully, because this is something people rarely say out loud. I'm going to be completely honest with you. If you keep trying to chase every interest at the same time, there's a good chance you'll wake up one day years from now still feeling stuck, still jumping from idea to idea, still trying to figure everything out, and that can easily lead to frustration. I'm not saying this to discourage you. I'm saying it because I've seen it happen to many people. And to be honest, at one point, I was heading down that exact path myself. It's easy to look at successful people and think they somehow mastered many different things all at once. You see someone with several businesses, multiple skills, and many interests, and it looks like they're doing everything. But what most people don't see is how it actually started. In most cases, those people began with one main focus. They spent time building a real skill in one area. They worked on it long enough to become good at it, and eventually that skill started generating income. Only after they had that solid foundation did they begin expanding into other interests and opportunities. So the truth is, you're not behind, and there's nothing wrong with you. Your curiosity isn't the problem, but you do need to decide what deserves your main attention right now. So here's what I want you to do after watching this video. Take that piece of paper we talked about earlier. Write down your interests and organize them into those 3 groups. Be honest with yourself when you place them. Then choose the skill in Group 1, the one that will become your primary focus for the next 6 to 12 months. Not forever, just for this current chapter of your life. After that, plan your week around it. Set aside real time to work on your income skill and develop it seriously. Also, schedule time for the activities that help you relax and recharge. And let the rest of your interests stay on the curiosity list for now. Then comes the part most people struggle with: consistency. You don't have to commit to this forever. Just focus on doing it this week, then repeat it next week, and the week after that. You don't need to have your entire life perfectly planned out. You just need to stop spreading your attention across too many directions at once. Your interests will still be there later. They're not going anywhere, but your time, your energy, and the opportunity to build something meaningful with your life, those are limited. So use them wisely and intentionally. Before you go, I'm curious about something. What skill did you put in Group 1? Write it in the comments. I read the comments, and I'd love to see what you're focusing on building over the next 6 to 12 months. And if this video helped you see your interests in a clearer way, make sure you subscribe, because on this channel we talk about building skills, improving your mindset, and creating a life with real direction.